Welcome everyone. Today I'm going to be demonstrating how to do a 2-point rotation on a freeform grid. Over here in this corner of YouTube, we like to keep things short and sweet by doing the most with the least. So if you catch my vibe, join the tribe and subscribe to my channel. Let's get into it. So with the 2-point rotation, all you have to do is enter your needle into 2 perpendicular points of the lock base. So I'm using the top and the side. It really doesn't matter where you start or end the rotation as long as you're doing perpendicular points. I prefer to end going down, but sometimes that's not possible if your rotation is going to end up too tight. Before we get into the close-up demonstrations, let's just talk real quick about the pros and cons of the 2-point rotation, and hopefully you can choose if this is the right method for you. The 2-point rotation is popular because it is fast and it is easy. What makes it so fast is that instead of going around 4 points of the lock base, you're only going into 2 points. You don't have to maneuver your needle into awkward positions, and if you're a beginner DIYer, this is especially helpful because you can pick the 2 best perpendicular points that work with whatever angle you have your arm and your hand positioned in. And then because it is easier, it then just becomes faster. The muscle memory comes quicker because you're only going into 2 sides and you kind of get into a flow where you're just going in, out, in, out. So let's get into a close-up demonstration. I'll begin by twisting all the loose hairs around the lock, and then I'll enter my needle into the side and then the top. And I'll keep this pattern until all the new growth is interlocked. I like to keep my finger right up close to the edge of the base to keep from catching any hairs of any other locks and combining the locks by accident. And you'll see as I enter this last hole that the lock became bunched up, so I couldn't pull the needle through. It's important not to force it because you don't want to cause tension. And instead of forcing it, I just maneuvered it and undid the tangle. Let's talk about another reason why people choose the 2-point rotation. This method of interlocking allows for a more fluffy, voluminous looking lock. It does not create a tight cylindrical lock like the 3 and the 4-point rotation. Instead, it allows for more shrinking, more swelling, a little bit more frizz, and in turn, you get that volume. So if you're a volume girly, this rotation might be for you. So I'm going to slow down the video for a second because I want you to see as I struggle to pull this lock through. I should have known that it was going to be too tight, but I didn't, and unfortunately I had to remove the last interlock because I did not want to create tension and I did not want her to have a headache. So the way I undid my last interlock, it's not easy to do. You kind of have to have patience. I just push up until a little loop appears, and then I insert my needle to make the loop bigger until I'm able to fully grasp it with my fingers and remove the last rotation. It's so important that you do not cause discomfort or tension because you do not want your locks thinning at the roots. So while we finish up these last 2 locks, let's talk about the cons of a 2-point rotation. Because it's not tight like the 3 and the 4-point rotation, you do risk unraveling. So if you have a really loose texture, maybe like 3B, 3C, maybe even 4A, you kind of want to stay away from the 2-point rotation unless you're ready for the slippage and the unraveling that might come. I have heard of people who started out with the 3 or the 4-point rotation while their hair was locking, and then once it was fully locked, they switched to the 2-point rotation and they didn't experience slippage or unraveling. So that could be an option for you. With that being said, you can still achieve clean parts and a neat looking grid with a 2-point rotation. I hope this video inspires you on your DIY journey. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions.